Okay, are we here? Are we here? Yay, we're here. Okay. Hello everyone, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. My name is Harrier Citadel, avian alien sentinel of Fort Misthaven, perpetrator of creative chaos, general maker of things, and presently, paralyzed. I have Chaos Cat on the lap, for who knows how long. I hope you guys are doing well. How goes? I managed to fix the audio bug surprisingly fast. Windows was doing the dumb. Cat! Yes, Chaos Cat is here. If he will decide to move later, I do not know. In the meantime, I should probably do this. Hello Citrina, hello Alex, hello Sishian, welcome in. Let me just set my hydrate timer, there we go. How are you doing? Long time no see. Yes, it has been a while. I have, I think, 99% recovered from a flu that I picked up sometime last week, and fought through the whole of last week with, so I am now recovered as far as I can tell. Still getting rid of the last dregs of residue, but beyond that, we are doing well. We've had productive times recently as well, so there's been movement in commission queues, which I am very, very grateful for. And today we are doing Art Challenge. Today we are doing Art Challenge things, and I'm very excited for that. Because the Art Challenge this time gives me an opportunity to do two things that I've really wanted to do for a really long while. One is crossover madness, and two is combat scenario madness, and I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun. Okay, Chaos Cat has just relocated to the bed, which means I can close my door. I will be back in just a moment. Okay, door is closed. Door is closed, we can now resume the madness. So yes, we are going to be diving into that in a moment. My touch portal keeps disconnecting, that's annoying. Anyway, every time that I want to press a button it disconnects. It's very unfortunate. I'm excited. Yes, it's going to be a fun one. So the rules of the Art Challenge are to draw a crossover. It can be 2 or more universes. One of them can be one's own iteration of existence. We love crossovers and we love combat. Yellow! Yes, indeed, Bread. Indeed. Very much so. So yes, it can be multiple universes. You can't do a fan character entering the universe the fan character is from. And aside from Wilhelm van der Bos, who is the host of this challenge, you're not allowed to draw any VTubers unless you are a VTuber yourself, and that's who, and you are doing like a VTuber world meets VTuber world crossover type thing. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to be doing a Misthaven crossover with 2 things. One is going to be Vil himself, because, come on, it's Vil. He's fun to draw. And the other that we're going to be doing is we're going to pull in a little bit of my action manhwa addiction with Rem from The Eternally Regressing Night, or its alternative title, if you know it on the English chapter of Webtoon, The Night Only Lives Today. So Rem is a supporting cast member, but he's a tanky barbarian, a ton of fun to draw and a ton of fun to read, and he's like the perfect teammate for my plan. So let me just compress these down so that we can head over here. Please move. I hope that this thing takes. I really hope that this thing takes. I think my Wi-Fi is doing the dumb. I love the crossover challenge so much. Same, same. Okay, my Wi-Fi is being dumb, which means I have to do this manually. One moment, please. Let me just put myself... Nope. There. That's where I want to be, I think. There. I will park over here today. Or no? No, I can park otherwise. I can park in my usual spot. I can park in my usual spot. Okay. I forgot where I was for a moment. Wi-Fi be nice to Harrier. It's been really stupid the entire day. So I had to be on a little bit of a weird iteration of reality today with needing to be on guard for couriers. So I tried to actually use the TV. Like, it's my once in 8 months thing that I actually make use of the sitting room. And that didn't quite work. So yeah, it took me like an hour to watch 10 minutes of content. It was not fun. And even then, only like 2 hours after my shift watching for the gate did the courier actually end up pitching. So, well, anyway. So this is my rough plan for our illustration. And it's very, very, very rough. Yeah, so the Wi-Fi has just been bleh. But we do what we can. It's a pity that mobile devices can't plug into LAN ports. But anyway. Yes, so this is my plan. In a nutshell, we've got a lizard beastie, we've got 3 combatants, and they can be identified by wings, because we've got the scribble that will become Wilhelm, we have the scribble that will become Lark, our fairy boy over there, and then lastly we've got the scribble that will become Rem. Now, if you're not familiar with the Eternally Regressing Knight or The Knight Only Lives Today, Rem is this guy up here. Let me just pull this a bit bigger for you guys so that you can see him. He's a cool looking dude. He's going to be the tank role in this party, which is very much his speed, in a kind of berserker kind of a way, which is totally normal in Misthaven iteration of reality. So my concept is to have these 3 team up as a subunit in the Mistgard while combating this beast. Rough, yes, but that's the exciting thing about it. This is gonna be so cool. I'm so glad. The scribble that will become X is such a good way to refer to characters. I'm glad you're enjoying that. I'm glad you're enjoying that. So I've got my references for him in terms of his weaponry and what his deltoid tattoos look like, because they're actually going to end up in Mistgard uniforms, and I just want to make sure that I've actually got my uniform reference open as well, because why? There is a non-zero chance that I have not 100% committed it to memory yet, and therefore it would help to have... Oh wait, that's just the paladins. That's just the paladins. You know what? Keep the paladins open. Pull in Ebony because he's got the skirmisher, and Lark is already wearing the sentinel uniform there, so we can reference that straight up from there. So let me just drop those on this side. So here I'm mostly referring to hairstyles, but I will be putting everyone in uniform because this is going to be in a sort of a combat scenario. Unicorn uniform, what? They sound similar sometimes, huh? Yeah. So yeah, let me break down the team setup for you guys. I did mention that I'm gonna be putting Rem as our tank. So he's gonna be in paladin uniform, so he's probably gonna be wearing what Brock's wearing. Just a sleeveless version. Because he does not strike me as the sort of person who would appreciate the extra stuff on his arms. So I will put him in a sleeveless version of that. It just struck me how similar these two look. Okay, wow. Interesting. That was unintentional. So Rem is going to be paladin. Each team on the Mist God consists of 3 skirmishers, 3 paladins, and 3 sentinels. So Lark is our sentinel class. And in patrol, they break up into 3-man subunits. So what we're seeing here is a subunit that is in a combat encounter. And each of those subunits consists of 1 sentinel, 1 skirmisher, and 1 paladin. So naturally, Vil is going to be our skirmisher. So he's going to be wearing what Ebony has over here. So that's going to be our outfit array for the day. Interesting. Yeah, it is a good way to just apply a little bit of balance. The sentinels are your high mobility, generally can't take as big hits type individuals. They're the eyes and ears of the team, basically. The scouts. The paladins are either your primary defense or your really, really, really heavy hitters. Usually slightly lower mobility, but that doesn't mean that they're slow. The moment when you realize, well, this OC has a lot more of this character than I expected. Oops, yeah, that is totally true. That is totally true. It's like, I did not anticipate that Brock and Rem would have similarities to that degree until I opened this up just now. I legitimately did not realize it. Brock is a little bit yellower in terms of his hair palette, and also his ponytail is more black than grey, and also obviously no beard, but similar enough to be, that could confuse some people, potentially. I don't think Rem would ever shave clean though. But anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by, I think, cleaning up our sketch a little bit. I will look at the references more as I need them. What the? But we're going to start by just putting some anatomical construction onto all of this madness. And I think starting by cleaning up Rem's pose, because I can see something that's like the beginnings of how he would generally stand, but I did draw this before I 100% knew who I was putting in this position. So let me do another layer on top there. No. I think he's just gonna have his hatchet straight out. Alternatively, I need to twist him. So that the charge can be more distinctly a charge and not a brace. Because Rem is 100% someone who charges. I have to go back to work, but I'm looking forward to the VOD. I always love watching you draw. Oh, thank you, Citrina. Good luck with work. I hope it goes well. I hope it goes well. And thank you for being in the VOD squad. I appreciate. Yeah, I feel like having Rem charge is probably more on brand for him. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to group those together. Reduce that even further. Okay, now, construction. Let us start with, let's start with Rem because he is here and close. So let's start there. Now I'm not happy with the angle on that hand. Doesn't look right. And I just want to get the shape of those axes again. These are kind of cool to see in action in the manhwa as well, because you actually see them used as like precision weapons more than just like going for whatever, which, given the length of the blade and everything is really on point. Like, a lot of people, when we think, okay, barbarian with an axe, we think, okay, it's like anything goes. But it's actually more of a precision weapon than a sword. So it's really cool to see in the manhwa how Rem actually utilizes them as such. Kind of really cool. But on this side, I've actually got his hand in the wrong aspect. Because we want the second one palm up. And that is going to affect the arm rotation the whole way through. Just the elbow is going to be there. Why do we want this one palm up? Because we want the second axe facing that way, because it's going to be two following after each other in the same stroke. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just adjust the shape on this. To get better perspective. There we go. That'll do the trick there. There we go. So that is our cleaned up anatomy on Rem. Let's move on to cleaned up anatomy on Vil. Now, I've classed him as our skirmisher for two reasons for this picture. Firstly is because he's on the same team as Lark, and Lark has been a sentinel since year dot of his being in Mistgard. Obviously, you don't necessarily just get reclassified in a hurry. So the sentinel spot was already taken, even though Vol, obviously with the wings, is high mobility. The second reason being that technically, as far as pure punching power goes, in terms of like magical skill and everything, Vol is actually stronger than Rem. Like Rem is strong. Don't get me wrong, he's a strong character, but his world build does not, at least as far as what I have seen of it, necessarily have like world breaker type power scaling yet, to my knowledge. We've seen some Paranites in the story that might come close, but it's still a lot to be seen. But as far as combat style goes, Rem is definitely more of the paladin sort. Yes, this is ordinary in context A, but earth-shattering in context B. Exactly. Exactly. So, like, in that case, Vil technically could be a paladin class as well. He's definitely, like, with the prism wall and all of that madness, he could totally pull off the paladin classification. But given the extra mobility and also temperament, he is pretty much an all-rounder as far as skill options go. And that means that his utility as a skirmisher, which is the all-rounder class, is more beneficial to the average team composition. And part of the idea of my own is the Eldritch part is always context C and always a problem. Oh dear. So yeah, in a nutshell, I just figured that his utility and temperament lends itself a little bit more to the skirmisher vibe. And I think it suits him. Okay, so then next consideration is going to be, I can see him fitting the roll out. Elbow, wrist. In this case, he's not trying to catch extra air here, so that tendon is going to be in its loose state, not in its tight state. Whereas this one is going to be tight, that one is going to be loose. All right. Lula's going to be up, which means that this side we're going to see at that angle-ish. Something like that. Then we're going to get that in like so. Okay. So that's going to be the anatomy on that wing. Now let's see about the other side. I get the feeling that this is probably in a charging state, while also in a little bit of a reversal state. So that means that the opposite wing is going to be a bit backward. And that is our hydrate timer. So time for everyone to acquire our nearest safe for consumption beverage. And let's take a sip. So that shape makes sense. However, it doesn't work on the silhouette. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a little bit of air pressure going upwards on that. And that's going to bring the wing that way. But that scale doesn't look right now, so we're going to think it out again. If our joint is there, side to side, thinking about the curvature of the rib cage, figuring out where it's going to be. The wing arm is about, the upper wing arm is about as long as the upper human arm. So something like that-ish. But we are dealing with owl, not with falcon. So we need to just round that shape a little bit more. And I'm going to pull these feathers like this accordingly to reinforce that. Something along those lines. Put a little bit of curve in there to just insinuate air pressure. we go. I'll come back to that. Okay, now lock. Now this, wait, wrong brush, is an interesting posture because it's basically pulling ropes. Like that. So in this situation, we're not really seeing Lark's face very much, but I don't particularly mind that. We're going to get the chance to see him more clearly, more often. Otherwise, for now, the major Misthaven part of the crossover is the fact that everyone is in the uniform. Lark will have other opportunities to have his pretty face shine. For now, let's just get the anatomy working. So there's hip bone, hip joint. Something like that. Roughly like so. Okay. And then what needs to be determined is the exact angle that I'm going to put his wings at. So they're going to be on that side like so. And like so. So that covers our humanoid's anatomy for now. Okay, happiness there. And now let's look at our beastie that we're going to be contending with. So first things first. Let's just put some depth and shape on this jaw. I'm kind of designing the beastie as I'm going because I have no idea what this is. So I'm kind of winging it. We're winging it with this guy. Any resemblance to creatures from existing IPs is strictly coincidental. Everyone is on the same page. We have no idea what this lizard is, including the lizard. I'm not sure they're self-actualized. Ah. The questionably you're very, very questionably sentient large reptile. That is definitely having a bad day. Fight ends when someone hits the reptile's head hard enough to spark thought and it slinks off into ponder the meaning of existence, what it means to be a lizard, and the nature of its being. Let's say that that's how it goes. Let's say that that's how it goes. Hard cut to Dory grilling steaks. Let's say that's what happened. Oh boy. Wow. Shh. You're not supposed to say that aloud. Okay, so that works, but I'm gonna just drop it a little bit and rotate it a bit. There we go. And just adjust rim accordingly. I think he's a little bit big anyway. Let's just see. Pull this in tighter, make it a little bit more of a close and uncomfortable encounter. There we go. Where is lizard? This layer. There we go. Something like that ought to do the trick here. And on this side, what's going to happen? Assume some sort of something like that. On that front. Or am I being the dumb? Yes, I'm trying to mix cat anatomy with lizard anatomy, and that is not behaving itself here. So I need to adjust this section accordingly. Shoulders need to be adjusted. So what's presently happening is not going to fly. Alright. We're starting to get our foundation in place. That's already looking a lot more like an actual scenario. Okay. So with that figured out, I'm gonna hide those two. Put those in there. Okay. And we're gonna go into inks now. I'm gonna try use the pencil brush on a vector layer, and we'll see if this ends up biting back or not. I hope it won't. I really, really hope it won't. We'll see. Okay, I'm gonna start with, I think I'm gonna start with uniform, so let's begin with Bill's skirmisher uniform. I'm gonna make this brush just a bit smaller so that I am dealing with generally thinner lines. Okay, then we've got the centerpiece, like so. Okay, and then there's gonna be the mantle that goes over the top, like that. And then that comes down. Now we need to do a minor adjustment to the arm section because of the backless cut of his iteration. We'll get there. Okay, that works. Phew! I'm glad. I'm glad that works. Now let's think very quickly. The undershoot is also going to be of the backless variety. Cauldron connects to the interior. I'm gonna leave that. So, second pectoral and like such, okay? Then on this side we're gonna have elbow. We're not gonna see the inside of that. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is leave that open. Yeah, just leave that open. Okay, which means on this side it's going to behave similarly. Okay, like that works. Uniform is slowly coming into place. Yay. All right. Now, in Vil's case, he won't have the spikes on his shoes because that's a ebony-specific alteration to his uniform. Since he's got a very kick-heavy style. This is just a little bit too thin here. Does not feel right. There we go, that's a bit better. Okay. You know what we forgot to do? We forgot to reset our timer. So everyone, acquire your nearest safe consumption beverages, and let's take a sip. Why? Because we're only 10 minutes over the next half hour. Whoopsie. Only 10 minutes over. Coffee is cold. No. There we go. Okay. Then we've got shoe. And that hand is a little bit long, actually. Not happy with that thumb position still. That makes a little bit more sense to me. Okay. There we go. So that is skirmisher uniform. Check. Now I just need to very, very briefly put on the pattern over here, which I will one day still get around to vectorizing these three. I need to actually make time for that still, so that it's just a copy-paste warp issue and not every time you try and draw this uniform you need to do it from scratch type thing. Okay, so that's the pattern in place. Now I can close that one because I don't need it anymore. Next we look at Rem's uniform, which is going to be, we're going to ignore everything on the arms, so it's actually going to be very similar. Okay, something like that-ish. Okay, that should do the trick there. Now, in the paladin's case, the apron comes down. Not happy with that angle. There we go. And now there is a collection of padded plates, like that, and that. Okay, which gets mimicked on the opposite side. That. And that. Clip. Clip. Belt. Erase and erase. There we go. That does the trick there. Right, then on this side, There we go, there we go. Nope. Alright, that's coming together pretty well. What's our time check on this currently? Hour 49 on this piece. Okay. So next one is going together pretty quickly, comparatively. I have no idea why. This one is going faster. It feels like it's going faster anyway. Probably familiarity. Because I know more or less what I'm doing from here. Okay, then some foreshortening. On that side, great. Now we need to make our silhouette lines a bit stronger. Yeah, we need to strengthen our silhouette lines here. Not that way. Slowly but certainly we're getting there. Okay, that will do. Now let me quickly handle Lark as well. Okay, just like that. Mantle on this. It's not going to do that. Why did I think that it would? Okay. Got that. Now, Weiss. Doing the thing there. So far, so good. How are you all holding up? Are we surviving? I need to rotate this picture. Like so. Let's hide that for a second. I just want to check that transparency. Yes, okay, that works. That works. Cool. Okay. Slowly but certainly. Slowly but certainly. That does not look right. That does not look right at all. This is going to be a case for flipping and checking. Those creases are being puzzling. Not helping the case. All right. Getting there. Okay. Now we can do these sections. And brains. Right. And the back here. That can go away because it's unnecessary. And a new. Alright, so that's a hydrate. So everyone, it's time to acquire our nearest safer consumption beverages and take a sip. Okay, there we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. Okay. So we have uniforms pretty much in place. I just need to do the pattern on Rem's apron, and then I can close Rock's reference. So there's 1, 2 of those. Okay, so there's that pattern. Now I can close you. And for now I can close lock as well. Right, now let's throw in some actual character features now. This guy is very fun to read, but oh my word, he must be a nightmare to work with. I suppose that's kind of why he ended up in the Madman platoon, but anyway. Do I have another reference on? I think I just put one in my scratch pad here, just to make sure. Yeah, okay. I'm not completely daft. Wait, does he have a notch in his ear? Does he have a notch in his ear? Hold up. Let's just check the webtoon. Does he have a notch in this ear? Come on, it's all from the opposite side. Yes, he does have a notch in his ear. I thought so. I thought so. I'm not completely insane. He actually has a notch in his ear. Cool. I'm not completely insane. Okay, now just to zoom out a little bit again, just to make sure. There's a little bun. And then completely untamed lion-like floof. Alright, that's the shaft for that axe. Then that side, like so. All right. Nice and thin. As a battle axe ought to be. There we go. So that is Rem pretty much set and ready for colouring, I think. Although I'm not 100% happy with over here. That doesn't look right. This doesn't look right over here. That's more like it. Okay. That's Rem sorted. Next. Bill! Let's start with the wings. Get those in order. All right, that works. Simplify that line of feathers down to just a straight line. Okay. On the other side. Okay, flip. Insert collection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Those two are too far apart. All right, there's that, and then poke out like that. Okay. So small. So few pixels to work with. Yeah. So few pixels to work with. Good grief. Although I do feel like the face is actually in its entirety small here. Let me do this. This is why I drew this on vector layers. Okay. There we go. Connect those two again. Okay, there we go. So that is all of our humanoids pretty much there. I just need to do Lark's hand, his other arm, and bandages on Ren's other hand. Let me do those quick. It's kind of his thing. And then I will need to save the inking for our lizard friend. And a good deal else for another time, because otherwise tomorrow is going to be pain. But I think that is just it. Yeah? Implied detail. Implied detail. Okay. Let me just close these up. here he's actually going to be gripping a rope of some description. I think it's going to be a grapple. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a grapple because that's a normal piece of skirmish. Not skirmisher, sentinel kit. And that is a hydrate. So everyone, time to acquire our nearest safe for consumption beverages and take a sip. And that's the end of my coffee. There we go. I do. Yes. Without the lizard there, it looks like Lark is about to stomp. Which is hilarious considering that Rem is kind of charging straight towards that, but no, there's a lizard in between. There's a lizard in between. I will refine lizard in the next run. I also actually think that Bill needs to be smaller in totality because it's a little bit out of perspective here. That's a bit better. Although I'm still not 100% sold on this wing either. Still not 100% sold on that wing. Yeah, I'm gonna clear that because I did not like it. I do not like it. I don't like how it's behaving. So I will need to think this out again in terms of the swing. That feels too long. Why? Because the forearm is too long, no wonder. Forearm can't be longer than that. Yeah, that's gonna do the trick then. The arm couldn't be longer than that. Okay. Now we try this again. Okay, Chaos what are you complaining about now? Mia, I'll come take you to the food bowl soon. I promise. Right. Okay. Or is that the sound of you deciding to go on your lonesome because you're sick of waiting for me? Or is this you saying that you want my lap again? Which is? He's been needy for the last 2 days. Like, oddly needy. But are you saying that it's starting to get cold again? Out in the world? What are you telling me, Cat? What are you telling me? What? Okay, Snail, where are you? Just feel things moving around me. Okay. There we go. The beginnings of our challenge entry. Happiness is. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these guys in a layer. I'm gonna call this character. Put face beneath that. We're gonna grab everything outside. No. Close gap, yes. No area scaling, yes. Grab that space. Are there any other spaces that I need to be mindful of? Anything around Rem's perimeter? Yes. Anything around Vil's perimeter? Yes. Yeah, what's your story? What do you want? No. Alright, invert, fill. Okay, that gives us a foundation. all the rest of it. Okay. Okay, happiness is. I'm gonna leave it here for tonight, and we shall pick this up again at some point next week. So what I'm gonna do in terms of our streams next week is we're gonna toggle between a bit of everything. So I think we'll do a bit of rigging on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday we're gonna work on animatics, and then Thursday I will continue with this. I think that's how we're gonna play next week. But everything was with an asterisk. I could change my mind between now and then, but I think that's what I'd like to do for next week. But we've got the foundations in place. From here, it's just the lizard and all of the rest of it. But I'm pretty happy for our base work here. So, thank you guys so much for joining me. I know it was a little bit of a lurky day, but we are making progress on what is going to end up being a very, very cool picture, and I'm really looking forward to it. There is a lot of crossover scope as far as the Misthaven world build goes, so this is like entirely plausible. But simply by presence of Rem, it is not non-canon. Because I'm not going to assume ability to just sneak him in, but yeah, it's fun to think about. It's really, really fun to think about. He would really enjoy this hunt. He's probably be making everyone else's life difficult, saying, "Don't kill it too quickly, I want to give it a try." Have fun with his fights. Yeah, no, that seems like something he would do. It's totally something he would do. Let's just be real. Yeah, yes. Are you saying that you're now finished with me streaming for today? Yeah, Mel? Are you finished with me streaming for today? Do you want to say hi to the people? What? Hey, Chaos Mel? Yeah, he was just nuzzling the microphone there. Okay. I am going to bid you all a good night. Rest well. I will see you on the Discord over the weekend. Possibly, probably. I've got a lot of character design stuff that I'm going to try and get done in that time, as well as a bit of work on Sishian's model. So if you'd like to lurk in a VC while I am doing that, I sometimes do weekend stuff in the Discord VC on mute, just plugging away with the stuff that I can't really work on YouTube. And yeah, we'll see if I can put some progress in on those fronts. But thank you all for being here. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah. And I will see you guys on Monday. All right. Hi, Harrier. Hello, Toaster. You caught me just as I'm finishing up for today. Yeah, it's Thursday. It is Thursday, right? I'm not completely insane yet, right? Yeah, I'm entirely you caught me just as I'm wrapping up for today. But it's good to see you, Toaster. Hello, hello. Take it easy. Oh, thank you. Now, yes. So I'm gonna continue working on this next Thursday as well. I've currently got a cat that's sitting on my arm and complaining a storm up, so yes. Rest well. It was really fun putting what we've got on screen together for now, but we have a lot of other additional cool stuff that we're going to be working on next week, so I will see you in stream then as well. And I will have a look at my timings and see what we can do in terms of that, because I feel like some further optimizations could potentially take place. So I'm gonna love and leave you, and until Monday, I'll see you in the Discord. All right then. Cheery bye, everyone. Night night.